Now there's this YouTuber named Game Dunkey who has been making these videos where he talks about the top games he played that year, and he's been doing this for over 10 years now. And then there's me, who needs an idea to steal. You see, it's a match made in heaven. In fact, future me, please remember to bleep out Game Dunkey's name to give him just as little credit as humanly possible. You know, I always knew I could count on you. Give me a kiss. Mwah. Not on the list. And since being my game of the year is such a pristine, honorable award, I'm not gonna limit the winners to just being released this year. That's right, it's anyone's taker. Anyone could win. Even a crappy game like Super Mario Bros. 2 could win. Could you imagine? So without further ado, here are 10 games I really liked playing in 2022. Now, I've always been a fan of Kirby. Kirby's Epic Yarn, Kirby's Squeaker Squad, where Kirby becomes a homicidal maniac after the villain, who is a soulless bastard, steals his cake. Then in Return to Dreamland, Kirby realizes the good of mankind might be slightly more important than cake. In fact, he leaves his cake on the ground without hesitation to save the place he calls home. You see, Kirby always does whatever it takes to do the right thing, even crazy stuff like this. Which is why I was always confused why the creators of Kirby were never doing the right thing and finally making Kirby a 3D platformer. What just came on the screen? That day is here. This is by far the darkest Kirby I think we've ever gotten. Instead of cake, it's adorable Waddle Dee's in danger. And to be honest, I don't know what's more scary. But as always, Kirby never gives up. He knows he can't just suck up his enemies, he has to suck everything. Cars, stairs, vending machines, you name it, Kirby will suck it. The levels are so colorful and full of life. The boss fights are more engaging than ever. The power-ups might be a little sus, but if you've never been a fan of Kirby, please try this one out. This one is something you're not gonna want to miss out on. Tunic is a good game, and it looks like this game, but Fox, check it out. Batman is one of my favorite superheroes of all time. The tale of a boy turned silent guardian, hell-bent on making sure nobody has to go through the same traumatic experience he did, turning tragedy and trauma into something good. Now, he may seem dark and simple to understand on the surface, he's actually a very complicated, deep character. And that's very much like the game Arkham Asylum. On the surface, this game has a super simple story. The Joker escaped and managed to break out a bunch of other Batman villains, and it's up to Batman to stop them. It may seem simple, but the more you play, the more you learn about these characters, who all have backstories and reasons for why they do the things that they do. It's a game that really brings out Batman's detective side. The Riddler hides trophies with compelling puzzles all over the asylum. The combat is still super fun and satisfying. The tone is super dark and creepy. And Mark Hamill, oh my, Mark Hamill. Let's just say in one performance, the Prince of Crime just got promoted to the Emperor of Felonies. He's just that good.
Let's start the party with a bang.
Papers, Please should not be as fun as it is. You play as an immigrant inspector at a border checkpoint, and the entire game is you sifting through passports and documents, making sure nobody is lying about their identity and is a threat to our statska, glory to motherland. It's a game that makes you pay super close attention to every detail. Take every word the people you're inspecting says to heart. It's super addicting, and the story will have you on your toes the entire time. Donkey Kong Country needs no introduction. It needs no explanation why it's a masterpiece. Just look at the gameplay, listen to its soundtrack. If you pick this game up for a second, you will immediately be immersed into the absolute beauty and wonder of the world of Donkey Kong. Every level has new creative fun ideas. The visuals are still impressive to this day. And don't get me wrong, there's gonna be moments where you freaking hate this game. It's challenging as hell, but it's fair. You're gonna get your butt kicked, but you're never gonna wanna throw in the towel. It's addicting, it's fun, it's the best 2D platformer on the Super Nintendo. And that's saying something. Elden Ring is an open world game that never ends, which is a good thing, because once you start playing, you won't want it to end. It's a game built on one goal in mind: explore. Stuck on a boss because this game is an absolute pile of shit? Explore to level up and find a weapon to use to whoop that giant monster's ass. There is so many different ways to play this game, with an endless assortment of weapons or an endless amount of spells and summons if you're a freaking wizard, causing this game to be insanely replayable. Trust me, there is a reason why most people who have played this game have pumped over 100 hours into it. It's because they're still on the first freaking boss. Pokemon has been the same freaking game for almost a decade. People will clown on Madden and Call of Duty for just pumping out the same game every year, that new features could have just probably been an update patch, and then lose their freaking minds when a new Pokemon game gets announced, where the new feature is, whoa, you can throw and catch Pokemon? That's amazing! You can do that in any freaking Pokemon game, makes no difference with motion capture. Now all these games are obviously good, don't get me wrong, but they're just not different from each other. Pokemon Legends Arceus, now that's different. Full open world experience with dozens of Pokemon that you can actually see outside of battling them. Tired of constantly running away from low-level Pokemon while running through one unavoidable small patch of grass? Now you can actually choose the Pokemon battles you want to engage in. The combat is much more fast-paced, the sceneries are absolutely breathtaking and are just begging to be explored. This is the first Pokemon game that actually made me want to 100% it. Catch them all and be the best that there ever was. Now, Spider-Man 2018 was my favorite superhero game of all time, but then Spider-Man Miles Morales came out, and that's when I found out, to be my new favorite superhero game, all you have to do is give me more Spider-Man.
I'm Spider-Man. Time to stop some crime. Ah!
Beautiful. The web swinging is somehow even better now. I love how at the beginning you can see Miles struggle to keep his balance while swinging, and then the more you play, the more confident he gets. From the start, you see Miles is always willing to drop everything to help someone, and him not immediately being good at being Spider-Man makes him so relatable. He's just such a great protagonist. The combat is so flashy, you can feel every punch and kick that's made. The story was never boring. I was at the edge of my feet the entire time, and putting on the Into the Spider-Verse costume makes you look like you're in stop motion. I mean, come on. That's creative. Alright, now I have a confession to make. I have not played God of War Ragnarok yet, but I did play the first one in 2022, and oh my god! This game is a masterpiece. Every single aspect of this game is riddled with detail. The combat is so satisfyingly barbaric, with so many different ways to defeat your enemies. The boss fights are so much fun and show very well the immense strength Kratos has. And the story, oh my, the story. That's something you're gonna have to experience for yourself. I don't know whose idea it was to give this revenge-driven maniac a son, to make it so he has something to lose, and show his compassionate humanitarian side. But whoever it was, give them a cookie and a jar of mayonnaise. They deserve it. And the #1 pick, ooh, I'm so excited to announce this one.
Celeste is the single greatest video game ever created.
Donkey! Like the Dunk said, this is the single greatest video game ever created that I played in 2022. It's a simple story of a girl who just wants to climb a mountain, but on your journey, you realize it's a lot harder than it looks. Madeline is such a great protagonist. She's so fixated on climbing this mountain and proving everyone wrong, like this asshat grandma, but then her anxiety, depression, and self-doubt manifests into this nightmare creature named Madeline, which is such a fitting name. You see, she's like Madeline, but she's bad. It's honestly a perfect conflict to have in a game where you're constantly getting better by losing. Don't let the difficulty sway you. You have to pick yourself back up and keep on moving. The physics in this game are unreal, with so many brilliant new ideas for platformers hitting you at every single second. It absolutely puts Mario Bros. 2 to shame.
Just kidding, guys. Super Mario Bros. 2.
Damn it, Donkey, no!